Hello, everybody. I am Jason from the YouTube channel Jason Leroy. Um, I make videos reviewing things, reading novels that I've myself have created, and I also just talk about some random things. I am gonna try to throw in some other things eventually into my channel, but for now I wanna talk about some more serious topics. So, if you've been consistent with my community channel, uh, community community yeah community posts, you'd see that I'm not really having a good mental health episode right now. Ever since I posted that I think I was bipolar, which was 14 days ago, I do believe to this day, I believe. But uh I think either that night or a few days after that, I attempted to overdose. I locked myself in my bathroom, and then I was attempting to overdose on painkillers, which I didn't know was harder to do than um, it was made out to be. So I attempted an overdose because of a lot of different things, but mostly because I was going through a depressive episode and I didn't really know how to cope with that. I still don't really know how, but we'll get to that later. So I told my mother, and she let it off. She told me that that was a horrible idea, never to try that again. The next day, I told my friend, a good friend, that I had attempted to overdose. He went to the counselor at school and told her about that. I was called in from my first period to talk to her, and um, she put me in a calm room, and I stood there. Well, I stayed there for like a few hours. Then my mother came to pick me up because the plan was for my mother. No, let me. No, I'm wrong. The plan was to call my mother to come bring me home because I was in such a bad mental health place that day that I really, like, there's no getting over it. I needed to go home so that I could deal with it there. But my mother never ended up coming, and I was escorted to a police cruiser where I was then brought home. Then I got my mother awake, and then she talked to my counselor, and then she brought me to the ER. Um, the ER, I was there for 5 to 7. It was a long time. I was there for 5, 6, 7 hours. Very boring. But eventually, they brought me to a mental health facility, where I stayed for 4 to 5 days. During this time, my brother was keeping some of my friends updated on the situation. Um, the girl asked out was updated, actually, and one of my other best friends was updated. Um, the reason that I actually didn't overdose was because my mother had me and my brother come to her house, cause so we live in a trailer, like, well, no, not a trailer. We live in a mobile home. It's not like a trailer. It's fine, but she lives at her. She basically lives at her boyfriend's um mobile home. He's a real nice dude. I do like him, but yeah, she basically spent all of her time over there. I don't really mind, but yeah. So she called us over there to retrieve some things to bring over to our trailer. I did that, and then my older brother asked me to call him because I had told him I attempted overdosing. Or, well, at the time it wasn't really attempted because I was planning to continue to go through with it, but I told him that I felt like I was gonna kill myself, and I felt really bad. During this, the girl I asked out, she was sending me a lot of messages just asking me to stop because I told her that I was planning to overdose while I actually was talking to her, because before that we were talking over a Discord phone conversation, and she left to go take a shower. So I'm like, okay, I have nothing really else to do. So I went to go take a shower too. Then I got out of the shower, dried myself off, put on all my clothes, and I was just sitting in the bathroom because I wasn't really into leaving, I guess. Like, I was just bored, so I just sat on the toilet and, well, with the cover down. I wasn't like anything like that, but I was sat on the cover of the toilet and I was, talking to my friends. She asked me if I wanted to call. I didn't want to call because at that moment, I got into a little bit of a squabble with a friend on a Discord server. Um, I insulted, I will say, I did insult I insulted my brother's girlfriend. She is older than us and doesn't know how to drive and doesn't have a license. So I was trying to get her to learn how to drive. I was saying like, hey, learn to drive. Then my friend, who I confined in, that is like, I think when I met them, they were 3 years younger than me, and that is very young at that point. And they were they stuck they stuck they stuck up for my brother's girlfriend, and they said uh worry about yourself, depressed ass, because I had talked to them a lot about some of my mental health issues. I didn't really take that well. I thought that they were mocking my depression, so I started going a little bit of a rant, and then eventually I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, I was in a lot of mental pain. I still am in a pretty considerable amount of mental pain. Um, and I didn't see any other way around it. I was desperate for a way out, and the painkillers were right in the cabinet. So I took them, and it was a gradual process. I didn't take like 9 at a time or anything like that. I took one, waited like 5 minutes, took another 5 minutes, and I just kept on doing that to like make it less hard on myself, I guess you could say. Um, as time went on, I got more and more accustomed to the thought of suicide. I ended up only being able to take 2 before my mother called me to do a chore with for her, and then my older brother, he called me. Just today, actually, January 24th, 2025. Um, in We had a full day of school, and I was in breakfast with a few of my friends. Well, most of my friends, and I was. I felt dead, dude. I felt. I felt horrible. I was staring at the table and I was thinking about how I just wanted it. I wanted another quick release. So the bell rang. I didn't really move. 3 of my friends, the girl asked out, and 2 of my other friends, they didn't move either. They were joking around. I was just kind of sitting there. Then one of my friends, he asks the girl asked out to poke me, to, try to provoke a reaction. She does that. I don't really respond. They try to get me, like, to have a reaction. I don't respond. He asks me if everything's okay. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then they leave. Another minute later, I get up and I go to my class. And there's a substitute. And he takes a roll. And I'm just sitting there, and he calls out my name. And I'm not able to, I don't know why, but I wasn't loud enough. I said, yeah, that's me, Well, he didn't call me Jason because that's not my real name, but he was like, Jason? Is Jason here? I'm like, yeah, dude, that's me. So at the end of the taking roll, he said, okay, well, we're missing a few other people and Jason. I'm like, dude, no, we're not. So I get up and I walk over to him on his desk. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm Jason. And he's like, oh, okay. I must have been looking really bad that day. Well, it's the same day, but in the morning, because the first question he asked me after that was, "Hey man, are you okay?" I'm like, "No. Can I go to the counselor's office?" So he let me go to the counselor's office. The counselor wasn't there, so I got to stay in the calm room where my math teacher, she sat down next to me and we talked for a little bit. I told her about how I went to the psych ward and how I attempted overdosing. She asked me if she could hug me. I allowed her to do that. Um, and then I added her on a document of my mental health issues, which, if anyone that has access to that document watching this, which would probably just be one person, then I am rewriting that, so I would check that out. But I'm saying a lot, but this time they called my mother, and my mom did show up. She took me to her car, and it was originally planned to bring me back to the psych ward, but I promised her that I wasn't going to try to do something, and then she allowed me to stay home. I'm gonna wrap it up here because my brother just got home and I don't want to cut out anything. I might make a part 2 to this, but I just feel horrible, really. I'm taking the medication that they gave me. It's helping. It is, like, but it takes I think like an hour to work. And oh, by the way, the psychiatrist, not at the school, at the mental health facility, did say that I was most likely bipolar, and it was most likely bipolar 1 based on my symptoms. And I did tell no. Basically, the way I describe it is I'm basically diagnosed, but it's not medically recorded. Thanks. I'm gonna end it here. I might make a part 2, but right now it's not guaranteed.